and what actions are needed in the next 4 years for staffing throughout the Sheriff's Office?
I think we need to stop and evaluate the higher echelon of the Sheriff's Office. I believe that we have a responsibility to the deputies, the employees that are doing the work on the street. Our primary responsibility constitutionally as a constitutional sheriff, again, I keep bringing it back to you. It is to you, the public, to keep the peace. That's our responsibility. It takes deputies on the road to do that. They have to be able to go and respond in a safe, efficient manner to your calls. And whenever we have so many people at the top part of this administration, we need to stop again, and it goes back to accountability and checks and balances. It's easy to be able to give somebody a car to use, but we need to bring it back to where it needs to be used, on the street.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Arnson, the question to you. I can repeat it if you'd like.
That's okay, thank you. I believe very strongly in accountability, especially financial accountability. A 5-year, perhaps a 10-year strategic plan needs to be in place. And that strategic plan is not just for the Sheriff's Department, it's for the entire county. As the Sheriff's Department continues to respond to the growth, the anticipated growth, and hopefully there will be some repeated growth here in the county, as we've learned from other candidates, that we need to also understand how that impacts the future of this county and its public safety. The competency level of the sheriff has to be understanding of that key element where lives are at stake. Emergency calls have to be responded to. And the key to that is working within the budget that you have and ensuring that the most amount of deputies are on the road at any given time.
Thank you, sir. The last question we have for the candidates comes from Mr. Barra. Sheriff Abbey, we'll start with you. Do you have plans to run for any other office, or are you planning to spend the rest of your career as Pinal County Sheriff?
Many people in this room, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to answer this, because the very person who asked it ran for sheriff in Maricopa County 2 times. And this isn't sheriff shopping. It's like, I've been the sheriff here in Pinal County for 4 years. My commitment, my promise to you is to fulfill that 4-year term. I love serving as a sheriff. Many people in this room encouraged me against, and I wasn't looking to run for Congress, and a lot of people, including state leaders, said, Sheriff Paul, the issues that you've worked on so hard, we need you to help fix our country. And this is where I couldn't be happier to be running for re-election. To answer the question specifically, not only I'll serve my 4-year term, I do not have any plans whatsoever to run for any other office, though a lot of people encourage me to do so.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barrett, before the question, rebuttal, if you will.
Yeah, I think that that's a little bit stretched. I think that the sheriff certainly has acknowledged in the past that he wanted to be a congressman. He didn't have the opportunity to do that, so he came back. He departed from the job. He was going to do the job that he wanted to do, and that was to be a congressman. I don't care how many people ask him to run. He wanted to be a congressman, or he wouldn't have ran. He would have said, no, I want to be the sheriff of Pinal County, period. And now that he's here and he's staying, that's a good sign, because that's a commitment that he needs to make to you, the public, again. The responsibility is this simply. If we give you our word that we're going to do it, then we need to adhere to that. If we have a responsibility, one of the old sayings years ago when I was a kid was, your word is exactly what that is. If you cannot keep your word, then you must. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to you, Mr. Arnson. Do you have plans to run for any other office, or are you planning to spend the rest of your career as Pinal County Sheriff if elected?
I'll be here in Pinal County. The only other elected position that I've held was in a nonprofit municipal irrigation district. I was the president of the Chandler Heights Citrus Irrigation District.
Thank you, sir. Same question to you, Mr. McLaren.
Thank you. I'm a native Arizonan, and I've lived here in Pinal County for 36 years. This is my home. I raised my children here, and my grandchildren are here. I was elected your constable. I was vetted. I was elected. I can tell you since 1993, I've wanted to be your Pinal County Sheriff, and I've worked towards this so I can continue to be a public servant and not a public figure. I want to be a public servant for you. That's why I want to continue and run for Pinal County Sheriff. Absolutely not. I'm not going to run for Congress. I have no desire to do that. None whatsoever. This is my home. I'm here to protect my children and your children.
Thank you, sir. That wraps up our question segment. We're going to move into closing speeches. We are going to start with the Democrats, and Mr. Taylor, you have 3 minutes at the podium to give your closing address.
Well, this has been a long day, everybody. We're almost done. First of all, I'd like to thank Maricopa Monitor for coming out and sponsoring this event. I'd like to thank everyone in the audience for coming out and taking the Saturday away from their children, their family, and loved ones. But first of all, I just want to let everybody know that I'm new to public speaking. So if I seem nervous, I am. I humbly ask you, the people of Pinal County, to support me and what's going on currently. If I am elected as your current sheriff of Pinal County, I promise you I would not use Pinal County as a stepping stone. I have experience in owning a business, so the problem is some of the things that we're faced with, the Pinal County being over budget. Again, as I said earlier, a couple of things that's very important to me and the people that work for me in my business. I can't afford to go over budget. If I go over budget, there's just a lot of things that are happening, and it's not going to be happy for the people that work for me. So as your sheriff of Pinal County, I want to be accountable for everything that happens in Pinal County. I want to be accountable. I want to be responsible. I want everybody to know that I am not going anywhere in Pinal County. I want to be your sheriff in Pinal County. I want to get out and reach the community. I want to know everybody that I am reachable. Okay, Pinal County has been scarred by the scandals that's been going on in the sheriff's department, and it needs to stop. If I'm elected sheriff, it will stop immediately. It will stop immediately. Some may say I don't have the experience. Well, I do have the experience. The experience that I'm a business owner for 13 years, and being a business owner, you know, you don't get money from the board of supervision that you have to work with. You have to depend on your clients to return the money to you, to have your people in place. And that's what I want to do as your leader. I promise that I would never go over budget. I promise that I will protect and serve the people of Pinal County. Your children, your family, your people that come from out of town, everybody. I am here for you. I want everybody to know once again that I am reachable. I am reachable. I'm not going to sit on the 3rd floor of Pinal County and look out the window and say, oh, everything is okay, because it's not, okay? I don't want to be known across the United States. I want to be known in Pinal County and Pinal County only. So, once again, my primary task is to preserve the people in Pinal County, and I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. I would like everybody to drive home safely and have a great day, and I will see you come election time. Thank you.
Mr. Millsap, your closing.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, this campaign is about finding the right person, the right individual who has the ability, who has the strength, who's code-driven, who understands to know yourself, know your job, and know your people. Push leadership down to the lowest level. These are ethos that should be driven within the organization. A law enforcement agency is designed for the sole purpose of being your protector. I've done that before. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I had a good time doing it. And one thing I know is this, is that you must push leadership down to the lowest level. You also must understand that your actions are endemic. They're widespread. Your actions as a leader are widespread. If I looked at my commanding general and I seen him doing certain things, you best believe that the troops are going to do the same thing. The same concept follows, the principle follows here with this as a law enforcement officer. There's no better friend or enemy than a law enforcement officer. From your perspective, a friend to the offender, an enemy. That's what you're seeking. You're seeking someone who can come in here and drive this organization in the direction that's going to be the most valuable asset to you. You are the investors. That's what you are. I should be able to feel as if though, as a former federal agent, I should feel that I should walk into a sheriff's office and be able to gather the information that I need. Now just think how you feel when you can't get information that you need in order to be able to fill a request. I've been around the world. I've investigated the LAPD, NYPD, all of these law enforcement agencies. Law enforcement is a dangerous job, and it takes a strong, resilient leader who can fill the shoes of that position. Forget about all the loot-la. Forget about all the scandals. Let's look at what you're looking for. What you're looking for is a leader, someone who is strong, someone who is code-driven, someone who is culturally emerged. That's what you're looking for. I know law enforcement. Believe me, when you start investigating law enforcement agencies and they're messing up, go look at the Los Angeles Police Department. They're under a 10-year consent decree, and it just got extended. I see that happening right here in Pinal County, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't find another sheriff. If you don't elect me,
Thank you, sir.
I suggest that you find another sheriff very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Armstrong?
Glenn, are these yours? I'll get them back to you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. It's a long day. I'm going to keep my remarks brief. I come with a resume requisite for the position of sheriff. Currently, you have to be basically 21 years of age and have a high school diploma or GED. 20 years of law enforcement, a master's degree in education, a native of Arizona. This county right now is starving for a leader, is starving for someone who's driven with ethics, with morals. And I sense that as I talk to people within this community and within the county. We've talked a lot about things that each candidate would do, might do. There's a lot of promises. I bring experience, not politics. I'm the authentic alternative to your current sheriff. And Paul Babu is actually a friend of mine. But we don't see eye to eye on many things anymore. This election is critical to restoring honor and a balance to the fine men and women that serve you as their public servants. They need a leader. As Glenn said, they need a strong leader that's going to enforce the policies. I bring consistency. I bring an openness. 120 days, if an officer does something, 120 days for the administration to finish that. That will save the taxpayers thousands of dollars. Right now, There's people that have been off for years. That's not right, because we can't backfill those officer positions, those deputy positions. I thank you for this opportunity. I ask you for your support, and I thank you for being here.
Mr. McCarty?
Thank you, everyone, for showing up today and spending some time with us and listening to us ramble on a little bit. I want to talk about me. I'm a native Arizonan. I've lived here in Pinal County for 36 years. This is my home. I'm a veteran of Pinal County. I actually worked here in the city of Maricopa when it was unincorporated as your corporal here. And back then, it was Saturday night at the fights here all the time. It was pretty wild. I moved up the ranks to commander at the sheriff's office. As a matter of fact, I'm the only active Arizona Post certified officer with all these candidates here. I kept my certification intact. Our sheriff is not a certified police officer in the state of Arizona. He's elected. No, he doesn't have to be certified, but he could have kept that certification if he chose to. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I'm a family man. I have 3 adult children and 5 beautiful grandchildren, and most of them still live here in Pinal County. I taught DARE to your children in school. I was an SRO in your schools here in Pinal County, working with your children so they can learn about the drug issues and how to stay off of drugs. It's very, very important. Do we have a drug problem in Beckel Valley with the illegals bringing it over? Absolutely. But we still have a drug problem, folks, right in your schools. We need to bring community policing back. We need to put SROs back in your schools to protect your children and your grandchildren. Paul says that we're picking on him. We're not picking on him. We're just telling the facts. Just the facts. I don't want Paul to be a victim up here. I just want to tell the facts. What I see is our sheriff aligning himself with other candidates, Boyles, Chase, Hollenbach, Prince, all these folks. Is he building a basketball team? Bottom line is, we need to vote for individual leaders, not a basketball team. I have endorsements right here in Pinal County from law enforcement leaders. Roger Vanderpool being one of them, our prior DPS director, our prior sheriff at Pinal County, Jerry Monahan, the police chief in Apache Junction, police chief in Superior. I have the firefighters' endorsement because they know who I am. They've worked with me for the last 20 years. They want me, the firefighters would like me to be your Pinal County sheriff because they understand the responsibility of law enforcement working with all the other agencies and not bad-mouthing them. We can't have a sheriff bad-mouthing the federal government. They won't give us anything. We have to work right alongside them, folks, bottom line. And if we do, we're going to get a lot more things accomplished. Last thing, I'm on the board of directors at the Apache Junction Boys and Girls Club. I'm their vice president. I spend time helping our children here in Pinal County. I enjoy volunteering. I volunteer at Florence Police Department as a reserve officer. Thank you again for coming today.
Thank you. Sheriff, have you your 3 minutes?
Performance and results. At the end of the day, that's what this race is about. And that's what I stand on, is a record of performance and results. And that I've delivered those things as a leader. A lot of people, most of my top administration, I didn't even know before I was elected the sheriff. And I went out and interviewed and I recruited the best. That's not the old Pinal County way of doing business, of several candidates here who are promising jobs to people, which is illegal, by the way. And these people have said this on the record. I recruited the best, and it is shown in their performance. Not only as being a good police officer, and I shared some of those things with you, and including a master's degree in public administration and in budgeting, and including being a command officer, a field grade officer, in service to our country and learning those leadership principles. But delivering results is not just because you're a cop and you wear a badge and a gun, good things happen to you. That even with all those leaders, that some of them that are smarter than I, have more experience than I wasn't threatened by that. I included them. I embraced them. But in the end, I'm the leader. In the end, I have to make the decisions. I have to stand before you as you elect, re-elect your sheriff. And that's where we delivered on response times. Talk about a DUI task force. We didn't have one here. Why is that, and should that be important to you? Who here has children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews? Raise your hand. Most everybody here does. The leading cause of death for ages 6 to 33 in any rural county like Pinell County is impaired driving. This is from NHTSA. We created our task force, and we launched, there's only 13 of them in Arizona, we launched to number 3 in terms of performance. Our narcotics task force. I don't take all the credit. We had 5 deputies assigned. Now we have 21. Because I reached out with partners. People say I argue with everybody. I reached out to the Border Patrol. We have 2 full-time Border Patrol agents assigned to our task force, 8 full-time ICE agents, many police officers from all the agencies. One thing I'd encourage even our SWAT team. Remember the man with the butcher knife in the restaurant here in Maricopa? Whose SWAT team comes and responds to those calls? Your sheriff's office. And by the way, to the mayor and council, we need some additional support on the SWAT team. We lack that. Our volunteers, citizens on patrol, search and rescue, our posse, our youth explorers that never existed, have expanded to hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. We're going to announce that the Youth Explorer of the Year for America is from Pinell County, Lorenzo Tarulla, who was just selected by 2,000 of his fellow explorers. We didn't have a youth explorer. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support.
I would say that Mr. Barrett's next, but he's already figured that out.
You know, it's good to be last sometimes. The sad part is everybody gave you all the answers I was going to give you. But anyway, my name is Tom Barrett, and I'm an Arizona native, born and raised in Phoenix. I've been married to my bride, Adele, 36 years. We have 9 children, 31 grandchildren, and our first great-grandchild. That qualifies me for something, I'm not sure. I have to ask my children sometimes, my son or the grandchildren, who's your daddy? Because I don't know sometimes. But at the same time, I want to tell you, I stand for Christian values and principles. Accountability and responsibility. I don't have anything negative to say about any one of these people. In fact, on one side, I commend them for standing up and taking some of the abuse that we have had to take. On the other hand, I think with my law enforcement background, my business experience, my mayoral experience, my opportunities that I've had in my life to serve this government as a veteran during Vietnam, I think that has given me life exposure to using common sense. Now, some of us in my age group at 65 look at common sense as something that would come natural. Today, I'm not so sure that we use a lot of common sense wherever we go. But I'm telling you, I'm fired up to go do the things that we need to do. As a constitutional sheriff, my responsibility is directly to you. You pay my way. You are the ones that I'm responsible to. There are some issues that are facing Pinell County. Number one, low morale within the Pinell County Sheriff's Office. A lack of resource deputies, as has been said. The loss of an IGA contract right here in Maricopa for communications. $500,000 that was coming in to the Sheriff's Office. I'm going to tell you that now is going to go to the city of Buckeye. You here have been paying taxes to us for services. That price was being raised with not much justification from what I've seen. Mismanagement of RICO funds, the loss of potential investors here because we cannot stand up and yell about the cartels are here, they're taking over. Now who's going to want to come? I wouldn't probably want to bring my family here or a business. I'm talking about economic development. I'm talking about having safe communities. I'm talking about our responsibility as leaders to address the issues that are there, but to go and not blast it intergalactically. I want to be your sheriff. Again, I'm Tom Barrett. I believe that I have what it takes to lead this organization. I ask for your consideration. I thank you for being here, and thank you very much.
We're going to bring up Tyrone Morgan. He's the independent candidate in this race. We're going to give him a few minutes to speak, and then we'll close things out for today.
Hey, Ty. Your time clock's running.
My name's Ty Morgan. I am the independent candidate for Pinal County Sheriff. I've been here for the whole event and was chomping at the bit. I would have much rather been up there, but I wasn't invited. So I have to be here for a last-minute speech, if you will. I've been a police officer in Pinal County for 30 years. My whole career has been right here in Pinal County. My wife is a school administrator for the Florence School District, and we've raised both of our children here in Pinal County. We have a vested interest in the county, and I have a vested interest in the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. I would suggest to you right now, the Sheriff's Office is in bigger disarray than I have ever seen it. I would suggest to you that Pinal County and Pinal County Sheriff's Office has been politically hijacked. I think the political drama that's going on, not only within the Sheriff's Office, but across this county, is very, very sad. One of the reasons I decided to run as an independent is because, number one, I'm an independent. I have been registered a Democrat. I have been registered as a Republican, as people advise me I should be without having enough knowledge myself. I am an independent. I believe there's good sides to everyone. And right now, both political parties have got us gridlocked, not only here, but nationally. That's crazy. We're not going anywhere. We're gridlocked because everybody wants to have the power. Everybody wants to be the power. So these political organizations put in time and money and effort into their candidate. So their candidate can go and pass along their ideas and their opinions. I would suggest to all of you that law enforcement cannot be politically motivated. If anything in your country should not be without political influence, it should be law enforcement. Law enforcement has to be fair and equal for everyone. In my 30 years as a police officer, I've seen many, many laws passed down for enforcement, for implementation by the Sheriff's Office and local police departments. Every law that has come down that I have seen has been nonpartisan. Those laws apply to everyone, fairly and equally. We need to make sure they are implemented the same way. If you have that much political influence in your sheriff's position, in your chief's position, anybody in the top upper echelon of law enforcement, I can assure you they are not being implemented equally. I've been there, I've seen it, I've watched over 30 years how it affected not only myself as a veteran officer, but young officers coming out of the academy with these great ideas. They're going to do these things. They've swore this oath to protect and to serve all the people. And then they find out, wait a minute, that's not necessarily the facts. That's not necessarily the way we do things. I know you've all heard that. Now that you're out of the academy, now that you've finished your FTO, your field training, now, come here, son, let me show you how it's really done. And I've seen those things happen. And that's just sad. That's just extremely sad. I've spent my entire career here in Pinal County. I've been a police officer. I'm still a certified police officer. My last 17 years, 18 years was with the Sheriff's Office. I was a supervisor. My other political venture was I was a vice mayor for the town of Florence for about 6 years. So I have an extended amount of time dealing with large budgets and law enforcement. I can assure you folks, if you're going to vote for the guy, the person who has the most experience in law enforcement, the most experience in Pinal County, and the right background and ethics to run this agency and do the right things for the right reason, you will have to vote independent in the general election. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank all of our candidates for coming today. Thank you very much. It's great to hear what you have to say. We're closing up now. Thank you all so much for coming to help and we hope we help you figure out what some of your decisions need to be. And thanks and have a great day. Okay, picture time.
Oh, no. I gotta be with all these tall guys.